Just one glass in, you're already on my mind. When it gets late, I always realize that I need you.
Welcome back to another edition of Gray Hair and Tattoos. My name is Lonnie and I am a full-time social media influencer who is on a mission to spread positivity regardless of your age, your gender. You can love yourself. You can be okay with yourself. You can just be like, you know what? All my imperfections are what makes me perfect. I just celebrated my 58th birthday. Happy birthday to me. I decided about 30 days before my birthday that I wanted to try a 30-day no processed sugar challenge. I made it to 30 days. I was really proud of myself. So make sure to like and follow, and here's what I thought about my 30-day no processed sugar challenge. I found myself craving processed sugar just a little bit too much. I was not comfortable with the amount of time I was sitting there thinking about sugar. Sugar, believe it or not, is very addicting. I am a recovering addict. I've been sober now for over 8 years and I have a very addictive personality. Sober Lonnie was like, stop. Red flag, red flag. I do not like this feeling. It brought back so many feelings of when I was craving alcohol. So I'm like, that's it, Lonnie. Nope, we're done. You got to do it. And I did it. And I'm really proud of myself. I'd be eating dinner and I would be like, what am I going to have for dessert? What do I have in the cupboard? I wasn't even thinking about what I was eating. I was thinking about what kind of dessert I was gonna have. That was not okay. And that was the reason why I decided to alleviate processed sugar out of my diet. I noticed I was always hungry. It seemed like I could never get full. I would eat, 20 minutes later, I'd be like, what can I snack on? I could never get myself to that level of like, wow, I've eaten, I'm content, and I don't need to continue to snack. I didn't like that either, so that was another reason.
You're already on my mind. When it gets late, I always realize that I need you.
And the last reason I wanted to try this 30-day challenge is because the older I get, the harder it is to maintain my weight. That's just the way it is. My metabolism is changing and I need to change with my metabolism. I'm like, Lonnie, you're not processing your food the same, and I have a feeling, just a hunch, that maybe your body is holding on to this processed sugar and just storing it in areas that I don't want it to be stored in. So I'm like, this is going to be interesting. By alleviating those processed sugary foods, how it's going to affect my weight, because I had gained about 5 pounds that I just couldn't lose. I was really curious to see how that was going to affect the scale. First week kind of caught me by surprise, and it wasn't that I was having a hard time not having the sugar. It was the simple fact that I was nauseated the first week. So of course I went to Dr. Google. I researched it, and that is a side effect, that you will be nauseated the first week that you quit sugar, which makes sense. I mean, my body was like, hey, what are you doing? You know, I wasn't 100%, but the benefits far outweighed the simple fact that I had an upset tummy. I wasn't always hungry. I lost that craving to always snack and to always eat. I would be sitting there and you know what, I would eat my dinner, and of course my little brain was like, hey, what kind of sugary stuff are you gonna have after you eat, Lonnie? And I'd be like, sorry, sugary side, you're not gonna get it today. And I wouldn't eat something sweet after dinner. But I gotta tell you, I also was full when I ate, I would eat my dinner and I wouldn't immediately go eat a cookie. And my body was like, hey, you know what? That was a pretty good dinner. That will hold us over for a while. Thanks. Good job. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I ate dinner and I'm actually full.
Lose my mind, oh man, you make it feel like paradise.
Another benefit that I saw right away that first week, before when I was eating a lot of that processed sugary food, about 2:30 or 3, I would just be like, ooh, I have no energy. I would go in and I would eat a couple of cookies and all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, I have energy. 30 minutes later, I'd be like, oh, I have no energy. Then I'd be like, oh my gosh, more cookies. I found that very first week that I wasn't having those afternoons ups and downs and highs and crashes. And that was actually really nice. I felt like I had more energy all day long on a consistent basis instead of those peaks and valleys like I was getting before with a really sugary diet.
Hooked on you, and that makes me say, oh man, you make it feel like paradise.
2 weeks go by. I'm about halfway through my 30-day challenge. I noticed that I was actually losing weight. I had lost a couple of pounds and I was not dieting. I was eating as much food as I wanted, it just wasn't sugary food. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. I like where this is going. I haven't reduced the amount of food that I'm eating. I just changed what I was eating. I definitely had more energy all day long. I just kept my energy level up and it was really nice. Just by alleviating all of that processed sugar, I could see a real difference in my skin. And again, plus, because I was very pleased at that result. I wasn't expecting that result, but I was very pleased about that one.
You make it feel like paradise. Goddamn, I think I'm gonna lose my mind.
Now, along with getting rid of all of the cookies and cakes and pastries, I also got rid of real sugary drinks. The 30 days that I was on this processed sugar-free diet, I drank water and black coffee. Those were the only 2 things I drank. Yes, I could have found some sugar-free drinks to drink, but I wanted to stay away from that sensation of having sugar. I didn't want to tempt myself and I didn't want to confuse my brain. So yeah, 30 days of black coffee and water. At the end of 30 days, I lost a total of 4 pounds. I gotta tell you, I was pretty pleased with that. I had great energy and super excited about how my skin looked. I was noticing that my skin was getting a little dried out and I was like, I wonder if it's the weather. But without that processed sugar and without those sugary drinks and drinking more water, it definitely made an overall impact on my skin that I was actually really pleased with.
Hooked on you, and that makes me say, oh man, you make it feel like paradise.
Now, if you're out there and you're like, wow, honey, that sounds really cool. I want to try that. I came up with some tips for you. Throw out all your sugary stuff that you have on hand. Last thing you need is to be tempted with anything that's already in your cupboard. And then that way you're not tempted to be like, one little cookie isn't gonna hurt. You know what? It will hurt. So get rid of all of that. Go shopping and read every single label. I was really surprised at the items that I thought were sugar-free that actually ended up having processed sugar in it. It might take longer, but it's going to be worth it in the long run, because the last thing you want to do is eat something that has a bunch of processed sugar in it that you don't think does, and then it triggers it, and all of a sudden you're eating cookies and cakes and all of that again. So read the labels carefully. So go to Google, look on Pinterest, but find some healthy recipes that are sugar-free. Find some snacks that are sugar-free. Instead of having a bowl of M&Ms, get some of those little baby carrots. What I miss when I do challenges like this is the actual process of, from hand to mouth. I miss this. So what I did, instead of denying myself this action, I made sure what was in my hand was healthy and sugar-free. What I want you to do is I want you to just be really conscientious and figure out when you get these really overwhelming cravings. Is it at a certain time of day? Is it after you eat? Is it when you wake up? Is it before you're gonna go to bed? So let's just say at 5 o'clock, you always crave a cookie. At 5 o'clock, I want you to go for a walk around the block. Start reading a book, do a little housework, go outside and sit down, do something different at that time that you automatically know you're going to be triggered. It's just a matter of breaking your habits. And if you do something, if you mentally do something different at those times, it's going to make it a lot easier for you.
It's late. I always realize that I need you. Are you thinking about me today?
I will continue my journey of alleviating as much processed sugar as I can from my diet from here on out. I figure, why not? You know what? I'm already sober. I'm already a vegetarian. I'm already a clean eater. I might as well just make it a little bit cleaner and a little bit healthier.
Your hands around my waist, just let the music play. Like a drug, I am hooked on.
As always, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to like and follow, and I will see you with my black coffee on the next episode. Bye!
Makes me say, oh man, you make it feel like paradise.
Final thought. So after my 30 days was over, we were doing a podcast for Robert's birthday, and he wanted an ice cream cake. My 30-day challenge was over, so I'm like, ooh, cool, I can have some ice cream cake. This is going to be great. I have to tell you, it really didn't settle well with me. It upset my stomach. And that in itself was like, oh, well, maybe this processed sugar isn't good for you, you know? Maybe your body is like, hey, it's much nicer without this food in you. So of course, I ate the cake. I celebrated Robert's birthday. I felt icky afterwards, and I haven't had any major sugary thing like that since. And if you're out there, and you're like, I'm gonna give it a try, you know what? Try it. Again, happy birthday, Robert. I'm glad that you enjoyed your cake, but it made me nauseous.